is Jennifer Palamas from Charlotte, North Carolina, and this is BBQ Central.
Start the game! Let's go!
We'll do it live. Okay. Well, do it live! I'll write it and we'll do it live!
So to get that perfect barbecue, you use wood. Are you sure it's safe? Whatever. We put the lighter fluid on, strike the match, and... Oh! Should we call the fire department? That might be a good idea.
Welcome to the Really Big BBQ Central Show. This is the show that talks about all things important to the world of barbecue and grilling. Continuing to originate from the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame city of Cleveland, Ohio. It is the barbecue capital of the North Coast. I'm your program host, Greg Rempe. Happy to have you aboard here. If you want to jump in on the show tonight, two very vital, important bits of contact information that I would like to pass your way. Here's how you get in touch with the show.
You can get in touch with the show by calling 216-220-0966, sending an email, greg@thebbqcentralshow.com, or on the Twitter and Instagrams at BBQ Central Show.
Anything else you want to find out about the show can be found at the main website, thebbqcentralshow.com. And here's what's happening, in case you get the newsletter. Coming up in about 12 minutes from now, another first-time guest. We've been having, dare I say, a slew of first-time guests coming in here towards the close of 2018, obviously the open of 2019. And this is the last show, by the way, of January 2019. So I often joke about how the show and the year continually is rapidly coming to a close. I believe that's the catchphrase that I have coined. No doubt about it. I mean, we were already through the first month of the year already. So hang on, strap in. It's going to be a wild ride here for the next 11 months. And helping me help you become a better outdoor live fire cooker, barbecuer, griller, lend insight into book writing business and social media is none other than the person who has founded Grill Seeker. Matt Eads will join us on the show. Matt Eads. He's going to pull two segments. Great story with him, much like with Susie Bullock last week of Hey Grill Hey. Matt's got a unique story, military background, so very excited to talk to Matt in the first hour. Then we will move to the second hour, 14 past, somebody who we've been allotting a once per quarter visit to, and for whatever reason, the last two or three times, some my mistake, some his mistake, we've missed each other, thank goodness, on the runway. So no wheels up incidents occurring, but we were finally able to schedule a on-time landing here as we keep with the air logistics puns. And 14 past the second hour, we'll find the keeper of the flame, Max Good, joining me. There are two specific pieces that we're going to be talking about that have really caught his fancy. A couple of the items that he has really been trying out here, and we'll be able to speak a little bit more in depth on. Then there is what I'm terming kind of a sneak peek, if you will. Hasn't had a huge amount of time with it. Also, couple that with the building in of the brutally, dangerously cold weather that we're going to be experiencing here in the northeast, depending on where you're at. Really, depending on where you're at, it's just going to be cold. Some places are going to be a lot colder than others. Here in Cleveland, it promises to wake up to about -10 ambient. That's a -30, potentially -40, depending on how the wind is blowing after you factor in the wind chill. So it's going to be cold. Lots of other places experiencing similar or worse temperatures. And Max just hasn't been able to get out and put this particular cooker through its paces. But we'll talk about it from a high level. And then that'll be it for Max. Then we'll close the show 35 past the second hour with the latest grand champion of the San Antonio Rodeo Barbecue Cook-Off. He is the pitmaster of 03 Barbecue. Oscar Garcia will join me. So we'll learn a little bit about Oscar, how the weekend went, how the cook went, if there was anything crazy that he had to contend with in order to pull off this championship. Huge win. When we talk about championships in general, San Antonio certainly one that is starting to build up in the event that pitmasters want to win, of course. Secondarily, when you talk about Texas specifically, I would say number one is probably the Houston Rodeo. Maybe number two now is San Antonio. So Oscar pulls that one down. We're going to learn all about it as we close out the show. 216-220-0966. Greg at thebbqcentralshow.com. Don't forget to follow me socially. I'm really blowing it up, if I don't mind tooting my own horn, over the last handful of weeks with help from SH3 holding it down, some of the embedded correspondence as well. If you don't know where I'm at socially, it's pretty simple, at BBQ Central Show on Instagram. Same on the Twitter. Although I'm falling a little out of favor with the Twitter as far as keeping up with it. I will post to it, but I'm getting further and further away because it just really feels like a lot of noise to me. But if you like Twitter, at BBQ Central Show there as well, / BBQ Central Show on the Facebooks. If you're watching the live feed on Facebook, welcome in! Chat it up, ask each other questions, engage, and give each other recommendations, barb around with each other, because that's fun. Engage on the Facebook conversation. I don't follow it specifically. There's a whole story for that. If you watch the show typically or you get it on podcast replay, you know why that is. But if you're in the Facebook chat for the first time and you're wondering where I'm at, or do you think I'm a bag because I'm not replying back to you while I'm doing the show, A, it's real easy to get lost in the Facebook chat roll, and B, I am trying to concentrate on the show, so I stay away from it. But that doesn't mean you shouldn't take shots at me or make fun of me, make fun of some of the other people in a very positive, good-spirited way. It's the show within the show. Or come on over to YouTube and check me out there live. We have a chat roll there that's a little easier for me to monitor. So if you want me to try and look and see you, head on over to YouTube. If you don't care, stay on Facebook. That's all right. Also, subscribe to the show on podcast. So if you can't make it for the live show, you'll get it whenever you can consume it. I don't know if you saw this over the weekend, but Barbecue Hall of Famer, friend of this show and besties with Jimmy Kimmel, Chef Adam Perry Lang, claims absolute innocence in a bizarre LA arrest. More news to follow, of course, but a strange incident went down in Hermosa Beach over the weekend with Chef Adam Perry Lang being arrested on felony charges for allegedly making criminal threats while staying at a beach house belonging to Jimble Kimball, per TMZ. Lang's lawyers say that the incident could be a case of what they call swatting, where some bag calls a prank threat often to the house of a celebrity, and that person who called in the initial threat to 911 about an assault and explosives on the premises was absolutely not
Andrew, you are not.
Was absolutely not Adam Perry Lang. The APL chef is currently out on 50 G's bail, paid by Kimmel, and his lawyer says he will be cleared of any wrongdoing shortly. His PR team has so far declined to give any detailed additional statements. More on this to come, that being provided by la.eater.com. In my own attempts to get in contact with APL through various direct messages, those two were declined.
Get that big stuff out of here.
I mean, I know all of you guys and gals here on this chat, especially my man Kinger in Canada, are my besties. But let me ask you something. If somebody decided they wanted to have fun at my expense and do a SWAT on me, where my house is surrounded, the gates are stormed, the moats are swam, and I'm pulled out of my castle against my will, having done nothing wrong, and I go to the jail to cool off while they check out my assault and explosive allegations. Is anybody out there going to pony up 50 grand for me to get out bail-wise? I doubt it.
Get that big stuff out of here.
I mean, how nice is it to have friendship, really solid friendship with a guy like Jimble Kimball to put up 50 G's? Adam, I'm not telling you what to do, but once you're cleared, you better be Jimmy's personal chef for, like, I don't know, the next 2 or 3 years. Or at least he gets the chef's table at APL going forward. I mean, the story is Adam Perry Lang potentially is swatted. Who knows? Who knows what happened? That appears to be where the mindset is. But having a buddy put up 50 G's? Whew! That is friendship right there. I mean, I want to say that there's some Centralites that if I fell into that category would help me out with 50 grand, but I doubt it. I get it, by the way. It's a lot of cash. More on that to come. I will keep tabs. Hopefully, Adam will reach out to me at some point. I can report back directly, but in case you didn't see that, Adam Perry Lang arrested over the weekend in a weird circumstance, and we'll leave it at that. All right, let me talk to you quickly about Traeger grills. Behind every great meal is a great grill, but not just any grill. A Traeger grill, Timberline is the Traeger's most advanced grill yet. It allows you to smoke, grill, bake, roast, braise, and barbecue like a pro, no matter what your level. You don't know flavor till you're cooking with it. Traeger grills use all-natural hardwood pellets as fuel, so you're literally cooking with flavor, from low and slow smoked ribs to a seared steak. Even a baked apple pie, Traegers can handle it all, and the Traeger Timberline makes it even easier thanks to the Wi-Fi capability. You can check out your cooks, kick up the temperatures, set custom cook cycles anytime, anywhere, all right on your phone through the Traeger Grill app. You can find one at your local Traeger dealer or check them out online at TraegerGrills.com if you want to beef up that barbecue game. Why not check out a Traeger shop class? They're going around this great country, bringing you barbecue knowledge and amazing wood-fired food everywhere they go, taught by professional pit masters. You'll take home all the skills you need to reach barbecue glory. Find a shop class near you and sign up today at TraegerGrills.com/shopclass. That is TraegerGrills.com/shopclass. Matt Eads, Grill Seeker, out of the break. Stick around, we'll be right back.
You're listening to the Barbecue Central Show.
Broadcasting live from the Barbecue Central Show studios in Cleveland, Ohio. You're listening to the Barbecue Central Show. Once again, here's your host, Greg Rempe.
All right, welcome back. This portion of the show being brought to you by Butcher Barbecue, makers of award-winning injections, marinades, rubs, seasonings, barbecue sauces, grilling oils, all of Butcher Barbecue products tested on the competition circuit as well as in the backyard worldwide. Be the pit master of your neighborhood. Visit butcherbbq.com to stock up right now, won't you? Of course you will. All right. First guest tonight, cooking everything outside or near some kind of live fire, and he's doing it on some great-looking cooking vessels. If you follow him on Instagram, and almost 31,000 of you do, you know his dishes not only look great, but we're all dying to get a taste as well. But what's the story behind the man known as Grill Seeker? Well, let's head to the hotline and find out. Matt Eads joins me here on the show. Matt, how are you, buddy?
Rick, thanks for having me. I really appreciate it.
Yeah, absolutely. My pleasure, Matt. Can I call you right back?
Yeah.
All right. Hold on one second. Having a Darth Vader moment there. Try that again. Look at all the weird stuff going there. Sound check impeccable, of course. You would expect nothing less. Huge sound check yesterday. That is unfortunate. Try this. See what happens. Oh, Skype my... Skype my one and only friend. You know? When you know Skype will not let you down, what does Skype do? Let you down. In the worst way possible. Okay, stand by. There's a lot of people waiting for Matt here. Sure of it. Okay, try again. Weird. I really have to be maybe switching over only to phone at this point. It has to be, right? Or the other side, of course, he's got to call me in order to make a connection. Wanted to get Matt's take right off the top, of course, about that breaking news on Adam Perry Lang. Very weird. All right. Where's my phone? We might have to go old school here, as they say. And get Matt's number. Go via the phone. How about that? So, stand by. What is that? That's the weirdest. Now, this sound will change into a phone ring, no doubt. Here we go. Here we go. It's the most bizarre sounds coming out of Skype. Totally bizarre. I better mark this for the podcasters. I'll edit this.
Hello.
Matt.
Yeah, I lost you here on Skype. Not sure what's going on.
Look, I've often said the best sound checks prove to be the worst when it actually counts. Come on. I mean, this is just what happens with the internet. You know, it's what happens.
Do you want me to try to connect with you again, or do you just want to roll like this?
No, let's roll like this. We want to make sure we keep good time here. We got a lot of stuff to cover. So, Maddie joining me here on the show. Grill Seeker, the website, grillseeker.com, and on Instagram at Grill Seeker. Matt, before we get into, some of the cooking stuff and recipes, maybe some social media talk, I do want to get a little background about you. So first and foremost, where do you grow up? And then where do you find yourself present day?
Yeah, thanks. Thanks a lot for having me on the show. I grew up just outside of Detroit, Michigan, in southeastern Michigan, so just a little bit north of where you are. I'm a lifelong Detroit Lions fan, and I know living in Cleveland, you can appreciate the pain and agony I've been through going 0-16, like the Browns have done as well.
We're trying to forget about that, Matt, by the way.
Yeah. And I bounced around a lot. I joined the military at a young age and bounced around a lot in the military, and I now call just outside of Washington, D.C. here in Northern Virginia home.
You had mentioned that you were in the military at a young age. So, do you go right in out of high school, and what branch do you serve?
I did. I joined the Marines right after graduation from high school, and I spent 13 years really serving all over. Honestly, I remember thinking, when I was on active duty, I can't believe they pay me to do this. I really enjoyed my time, enjoyed meeting a lot of just great people from all walks of life.
Wow.
And it was just a remarkable experience.
13 years, so that's a little short of full time or being able to retire out. What called you out, I guess, after you stay in for that long?
Yeah, it's a good question, and I got asked that a lot. 13 years, geez, you're over the hump, and you're close to retirement, and
right.
and so there were a number of things. I had some issues with my knee that were kind of lingering on, and that kind of affected a little bit of my performance. But really, I wanted to go to school. I wanted to go to college, which I did not do, obviously, after high school enlisting in the Marines. So after 13 years, I left the Marines, and I was a 30-year-old freshman at Penn State.
You don't stand out too much doing that, right?
Yeah, I might have differed somewhat from the average 18-year-old freshman in a class of 1,000.
Man, let me ask you a question, because I did ask Susie Bullock this last week when we were talking, because she had went to college and then got married pretty quickly out of there, had some kids and so forth. And I asked her this question, wanted to get your take, because you go from high school, do military, get out at 30, decide you're going to go back to college because you missed that experience as well. But, I mean, you are a way different person, having been through the military, served the country, seeing what you saw, being 30 and doing college versus somebody just going right out of high school. Do you think that taking the time after high school, granted 13 years, maybe an extended military time away versus the 4 typical, but do you think having that time made you a better student or prepared you better to be more successful versus thinking, okay, well, high school's over, so I just got to go to college?
Unquestionably so. And I would say that had I gone to college right out of high school, which was certainly not an opportunity that I had, nor did I want, to be honest with you, right out of high school, I would not have lasted long. I just didn't have the focus. It wasn't what I wanted to do. And growing up in really an industrial sort of area, and you're familiar with that area, it was not, in my peer group, it was not expected, like in Northern Virginia, as an example, where kids are talking from a very young age about where they're going to college. So where I grew up, it was more of a, you're going to college, that sort of a thing. So people generally went to one of the big 3 and worked in automotive, or they joined the military, and so the military was the path that I chose. At 30, I had a different appreciation for life. I had a different appreciation for the finances that it took to go to college. So that was a big differentiator. The typical, and I won't say all, but certainly the typical 18-year-old is in college because that's just what you do next.
Right.
And someone else is paying for it. They don't necessarily have an appreciation for it. So at 30, I paid for college on, using my GI benefit, but I had a limited amount of money that I had in reserve to live off of to be a full-time college student. So I was there for maybe different reasons. It certainly wasn't because that's what you do next. It was because I really, really wanted to just kind of embrace the academia. And so yeah, I mean, in short, I certainly took different things from college that maybe an 18-year-old would not have taken, and had some really interesting conversations with professors, especially as you get into upper level courses that generally are teaching to a 20 or 21-year-old audience, that, we can exchange thoughts and practical application of what they're teaching to real life environments. So definitely got a different experience than most. And I think that generally speaking, professors appreciated, what they call an adult learner. So yeah, definitely a different experience. And I took much more out of it than I would have had I tried to do it at age 18.
Matt E's joining me here on the show at Grill Seeker on Instagram, grillseeker.com, his website, if you want to check it out here while we're chatting it up. So you get out of college, when we start to transition over into live fire stuff, is this something that you're just around during your time, whether it was in the military or when you got out, started doing college, and or where do you find the love of live fire cooking?
Yeah, that's a fun one. So I have a very distinct memory of the first time I cooked live fire, and I'm guessing it was around age 11, maybe 12-ish. I have a dear friend who I'm still dear friends with today, and we joined the military together, and just lifelong buddies. But around that age, we built sort of a fort out in the woods, like a lot of young boys do at that age. And this fort was it was incredible, right? It was near sort of a train track, so we built it out of these railroad ties, and it was just incredible. And so he would sneak food from his folks' deep freezer and cupboard, and I would do the same thing, and we would tote it out to this fort, and build a fire, an open pit fire, and we started, cooking on various surfaces. I think I borrowed, and I'll use that term loosely, my mom's Lodge cast iron pan that she had back then, and we just started cooking over live fire at that age, and that's really what sparked my real interest in live fire cooking. Fast forward a couple of years, I had a handful of jobs, worked at a meat market for a time, and bought my first smoker back then. It was an old Brinkman. I don't know if you remember that, but I don't even know
yeah.
if they're still around.
Bullet
Actually,
style?
like a Brinkman. Yeah, bullet style Brinkman
Yeah.
smoker, and smoked up some turkeys. And working at Danny's grocery store, it was like a meat market. I used to get meat for fairly cheap or whatever scraps were left over. And I was certainly never a butcher, but I got to learn a lot from those guys. I mostly did stocking shelves or bagging groceries or cleaning up or whatever in the evenings. But I used to get meat for fairly cheap, and so I started to develop more of a love for it as I kind of dialed in that old Brinkman. And back then there were no temp controllers like they have now. I had no instant read thermometers, so it was really it was pretty rudimentary. And so that's where the passion got started from that young age. And then, as I served in the military in various countries, various places, there's always a grill like around the barracks or whatever, where we lived. And I was just kind of always the guy that kind of manned the grill and cooked whatever we could find at the commissary for cheap. We were all living on a pretty limited budget. And I think I just had, some of the best times cooking some really inexpensive things. And, I've said a million times, like it doesn't take a chef to cook a Wagyu steak, right? I mean, you could eat that thing raw. It tastes pretty good, but it takes some real talent to take a $9 chuck roast and turn it into a real gem. And I kind of started to really do that when I was in the military. And throughout college, like as I had any spare time as a 30-year-old freshman, like I was always cooking and I made a lot of mistakes. I've got I actually have a section on my website that I call How Not To. And it's just kind of some bloopers that I've done, and I've done plenty of them over the years. And learning by making mistakes and watching other folks.
Matt, what do you do for a living, or is this grill seeker thing the full-time gig?
Yeah, this is it. Full-time
Wow.
gig for Grill Seeker, grillseeker.com, and writing the book obviously took a lot of time, but yeah, this is it full-time.
Favorite cookers, what do you like?
Well, it's an interesting one. I'm really
All of them,
enjoying
right?
the Lynx Napoli oven these days.
Yep.
I cook just about everything in there. It's just so fun to mess with it. So right now that's probably my go-to.
Do you have other cookers that are on your deck or your patio, or do you kind of cycle one in, one out?
Yeah, so I've got, I think at this point maybe around 13 or 14. I don't keep many more than that. I'm limited on space, and my wife has said that for every one grill that comes in, one has to go. So at this point, I'm very limited.
I mean, why do wives always got to say that? They ruin it. I got the same deal.
Right?
My wife told me, "Hey, man, you bring another one in, you're gonna have to give another one away."
Yeah, I think if the same applied for like purses and shoes, like I'd be on board with it. But at this point, it's like maybe this isn't quite so fair. Like I'm sure we can just move another car, like you move the car out of the garage and store something there. But so yeah, I've got a handful of cookers, and I use them for different things. And then they all, I do a lot of reviews on my website as well. So, but generally those get, I do the review, and then it will generally get donated to something in a local fire station or whatever.
Do you have, I guess, what you would call sponsor or partnerships with manufacturers right now?
I do have a handful, and it's pretty limited, and that's just sort of the way that I like to roll. But certainly Lynx has been a great partner of mine. Omaha Steaks is another terrific partner of mine. And I work with Route 83 Knives, which they're fairly new to the scene, but they put out some really incredible cutlery.
So are you, from a responsibilities standpoint, we can just keep it high level, are you responsible for recipes, like videos showing product use, and also are you also giving feedback to those partners of yours that, hey, if you had to redo it, I would do this, this, and this, or maybe you want to tweak this or add a little bit more fat versus beef ratio? Like, what's your input on that regard?
Yeah, I think that's a great question. So I would start by saying, anytime that I've ever been approached by any brand that might want to work together, and what I would encourage really anybody to do is I made a promise to myself and early on to say that I would never for any price represent a product that I don't feel comfortable giving as a gift to a friend or family member. And I stick to that first and foremost. And so, you'll get contacted as you get more followers on Instagram. It's kind of like it's pretty standard. You get reached out to by, various manufacturers or sauces, rubs, whatever you want to call it.
Yep.
And they'll ask, do you want to work with us? And I respond very politely and say, I can't answer that question. I need to try your product first, and then we can talk about it. But I can't commit to supporting anything that I haven't tried first. And I probably have said no more than I've said yes, just because I guess I'm pretty picky about a lot of things. So I have fewer, I guess, sponsorships or whatever they're called these days than some other folks might have. But I prefer to keep it that way, and I like to. I feel like I really need to, as I said, I need to feel like I can give it as a gift to a friend or family member, and feel proud of that before I can actually represent it. So that's kind of how it works.
And I guess that's where some of the delineation lays with sponsor or partnerships. You can be somebody that's maybe, like me, who has a real job, as I'm doing air quotes that you probably can't see. And, this has grown into, a pretty nice secondary, and I really love doing it. It started out from zero. I was making zero money, all that stuff. And I've said all the time, if all the sponsors dried up and I had to do the show next week, I would be here next week, because that's how the show was born. It was born out of me wanting to do this show. And if everything else went away and I still had the ability to get on the air the next week and do the show, then I would do the show, because I still want to do this. I still want to cater to this industry and bring news and bring entertainment, bring value, introduce cool people like you to the public that might not know about it. But then on the other side, there's folks that maybe don't have that moral suit and say, I want to grab everything I can while the iron's hot. And I guess, certainly if that's your path, you can work it the way you want to work it. But I find myself gravitating a little bit more towards the people that want to engage and, as you said, have that ethical part of, hey, would I give this a gift to somebody? No. Well, then I'm probably not going to just work up something here to line the pocket.
Yeah, exactly. I think you really hit the nail on the head when you talked about if all your sponsorships dried up, you'd be here next week doing the show because you love it. And that really is it. So, I tell people, and I get, asked a fair amount of times from various folks on social media or what have you that say, how do I get this following? And you have all this stuff. It must be all free. And people are sending you stuff all the time. You must make oodles of cash. And I say to them all the time, like, if you want to get into this business, and I'll use the invisible air quotes that you talked about, if you want to get into this business and you think you're going to get rich, you're really in the wrong line of business. Yeah. Like, there's probably a different hustle out there for you to do, because you're not going to get rich. You really have to have a passion for it. And if you're not comfortable doing, what you're doing and supporting the people that you are supporting for any reason, if you're not comfortable doing that, you're going to be really tired really quick. So, the partnerships that I have are just so easy for me, because they're just top shelf products that I literally recommend to everybody, because there's no knock on them. So, it's a tough, and I don't begrudge anybody. People can promote what they want and do their business the way they're going to do their business. And if that means to take as much money as they can as quickly as possible, while the iron's hot, then so be it. I certainly wouldn't proclaim that the way I'm doing it is the right way. It's just what I'm comfortable doing. But there's also the aspect of a lot of, it's a tough sort of business, because there are so many people that are willing to do this business for free or in trade for product.
Right.
And so it makes it tough. It really is. And it's kind of a cutthroat industry.
Matt Eads joining me here on the show. Grill Seeker, the website grillseeker.com, and on Instagram at Grill Seeker. Matt, can I hold you over for one more segment? We'll talk about the book.
You bet.
All right, stand by. We're talking with Matt Eads, Grill Seeker. I will talk to you quickly about Green Mountain Grills. Some of the best pellet cookers out there on the market today. That's right, 3 different sizes to choose from. The big one's the Jim Bowie. Maybe you're going to have a huge Super Bowl blowout, and you're looking for a big pellet cooker to handle the biz. Well, hurry up and go get your Jim Bowie, break it in, and away you go. You're going to be able to do multiple racks of ribs, probably a couple full-size briskets, 5, 6 pork butts, depending on if you're going to pan them or not. Maybe just have a really big family. Hey, that's going to be the one for you. Now, you want something not as big as a Jim Bowie, but not a portable cooker, something just a little smaller. How about the Daniel Boone model? I got one of those. Perfect for family of 4, maybe 5, or depending on how big you are, maybe you just like to cook a lot of meat and you live by yourself. Well, Daniel Boone might be the one you want to look at. Now, if you are into traveling, if you want something portable, Davy Crockett is the one you're going to want to take a look at. This one fits in the back of most trucks, vans, and SUVs. It is completely wood pellet fired, so you're not sacrificing the wood smoke. And it's totally portable. Now, if you don't have access to that traditional power outlet, you can use the 12-volt adapter that goes in your car or truck. You're powered up, ready to go. In fact, as I had mentioned a couple weeks ago, I'm thinking about putting my hands on one of those for softball season coming up this summer. That way I can show off in front of all the parents. Yeah. Don't forget, Jason Baker is coming up in a couple weeks here, probably end of next month, to talk about Green Mountain Grill's updates and revamps. Very excited. Also, don't forget that the Jim Bowie and the Daniel Boone, if you rip the guts out, you can put your hands on that pizza oven insert, and now it's a pizza party, pal. High heat pizza oven all the way up to 1,000 degrees if you want. GreenMountainGrills.com. That's GreenMountainGrills.com. More with Matt Eads. Stick around. Be right back.
Continuing to produce incredibly mediocre content in an exceptionally professional way. You're listening and watching the Barbecue Central Show. Once again, here's your host, Greg Rampey.
All right, welcome back. This portion of the show being brought to you by CookinPellets.com, your number one source for quality wood pellets for all those pellet-driven cookers, like the Traeger and the Green Mountain Grill that I just talked about. So you visit CookinPellets.com for more information or purchase. You can also visit Amazon.com to purchase as well. Don't forget to download that free Cookin' Pellets app, too. They got wild flavors, also some cool accessories, so check them out. Matt Eads joins me here. Thanks for hanging with me through the break there, Matt.
Of
All right,
course, my
so
pleasure.
you have a book that is getting ready, if I'm not mistaken. Is it like release April 9th or somewhere around that neck of the woods?
That's right. April 9th is the official release date, and it's available for pre-sale now, and super excited about it.
Grill Seeker Basic Training for Everyday Grilling. I see what you did there. I think that's very cute.
Yeah.
Let's talk about book writing here for a minute, Matt. I have had many of the most prolific authors and writers in the live fire industry on this show multiple times. And I've often said, if we were having this discussion, 15 years ago, maybe even 20 years ago, we could be talking to Matt Eads, a guy who signed a fairly large advance, maybe a really large advance. Maybe you already had your eyes on another book because you could make a living at writing a book. Well, fast forward to where we're at in 2019 now, and certainly there's still a lot of books. The live fire industry portion of the book writing is still incredibly popular. You see the new books come out each and every spring. Certainly your book is going to be out this year as well. But from a business standpoint, Matt, how much do you feel this industry has changed, and is book writing a way to keep Matt Eads' name in a new venue out to people, or is it an additional way to make some pretty decent money?
Yeah, that's a great question. I've been asked that specifically about the money. People think you're writing a book, oh, you're going to be rich, and I just chuckle because you're certainly not going to be rich with writing a book.
Yeah.
To your point, the times have changed, and there's so many fingers in the piggy bank relative to book writing. So this is not at all about making a dollar. If I make any money on the book, I'd be happy. I don't think that certainly is not my motivation for doing the book. Really, for me, it's about getting the word out, to so many people who own a grill and bring it out on Memorial Day and 4th of July, and the rest of the year it spends collecting dust and leaves. And so the concept of this book and how it came to be with the publisher was that I wanted to show people that grilling is something you can do every day, and kind of spread the word of, United by Flame is what I use for a hashtag. And what I mean by that is, especially in today, like in the political environment, in the 24-hour news channel, I mean, there's just, people are angry, And I just feel like when you get around a grill, you get around a flame, and you've got some meat or some vegetables or whatever that's on there, it doesn't matter your political preference. It doesn't matter your race, your gender, your sexual orientation, your socioeconomic upbringing. Like, none of that matters anymore. People get around a grill, and all of those things go away, and all you think about is how great this food's going to be. We're standing around this live fire, this very primitive way of cooking, and people are together, and people are just united that way. And that shouldn't be reserved for just Memorial Day or just the 4th of July. Like, you can do that every night. You can invite your neighbors over, you can have your family out, and you can just cook around a fire, and like, all is good in the world, at least in my mind. So that's really the message that I kind of wanted to spread. With recipes, that you can do in about an hour. Some of them take a little bit longer than an hour, but they're all very simple recipes that are aimed at great flavor and, ease of cooking, so that anyone that's just starting grilling on any grill can make them. And so that really was the angle of the book, for me to sort of spread that word out. And, if something more comes out, if there's another book opportunity or, opportunities with this book, I'm certainly would love to take advantage of it. But I feel really good about, the product that I put out. There's a ton of work. Writing a cookbook is infinitely more work than I ever thought it would be when I decided to do it. But I'm just super happy with it, and I'm excited for people to get it in their hands and to give honest feedback about it.
Matt, were you approached by a publisher, or did you go soliciting?
Yeah, so I got a random call. I think it was an email actually I got from a publisher that said, "Hey, we checked out your website and love your recipes, and they were interested in the following on Instagram and sort of the engagement and that sort of thing." So they were kind of interested a little bit, or I think mildly. And they said, we're looking to do a grilling cookbook for next year. This was last year. We're looking to do this grilling cookbook for next year. Have you ever thought about writing one? And I said, yeah, absolutely, I've thought about writing one. But to be honest with you, the extent that I thought about it was, fleeting. Like, yeah, it'd be kind of cool to write a book someday, and that was the end of it.
Yeah.
But when they reached out, it was like, yeah, certainly I've thought about it. I think it'd be great. And they said, they were talking to a handful of people. They didn't say who they were talking to, but they were talking to a handful of folks, other food bloggers that had recipe content that they could kind of screen to be sure that folks knew how to write a recipe or develop some flavor profiles, that sort of thing. They said, so think about what you want to write about, kind of pitch on what the book would be. So I went through a couple like phone screens, and they looked at some writing samples on my website. And, I pitched them on the concept of everyday grilling, so that, grilling and cooking outside around live fire wasn't a special event. It was something that people would do every night. And it had to be special every night. Special didn't have to be reserved for long weekends, holidays. And so that was my pitch. And I'd never pitched a book before. I really didn't know what I was doing, and probably made kind of a fool of myself when I talked to them about it. They were pretty close to the best. And making a fool of myself, by the way, is not something I'm accustomed to making a fool of myself. So it was nothing new for me. But, so they kind of went radio sound for a few weeks. And I thought, they probably have chosen somebody else, but, maybe next time, whatever. And I just went out about doing my thing. And then they reached out again and said, hey, we've selected you if you're interested in doing the book. Let's talk about the details and how that would pan out. And, of course, I was, kind of doing the happy dance and try to play my poker face to them. And then we worked out the negotiation of how the contract would work and who was going to be responsible for what. And I went to work on the book, and it was, again, infinitely more work than I ever anticipated.
Did you think it was going to be just as easy as sitting down in front of some kind of word processor or computer and just banging out a bunch of recipes, turning it in, and maybe 3 months work and you'd be all set?
I was thinking that along that line, but maybe a month and a half work. So 3 months would have been kind of a stretch. Like, I thought I could knock this out like a month and a half, And I guess if you're like Stephen King and somebody says, hey, we want you to write a new horror book, like, you probably go lock yourself in a cabin somewhere for 6 weeks or whatever, and all you concentrate on is your book, and you've done a million of them, so it's probably fairly easy. I didn't have the luxury of locking myself away for 6 weeks or for any period of time. Like, life has to go on around here. So it was kind of like wedging it in with a shoehorn in my schedule of when I could do recipe development. And I thought, like, maybe it's going to be, kind of like doing it for the website, but it just wasn't. Pictures have got to be better, and I was lucky to have some. I did a lot of the pictures myself. I had some help with some other really incredibly talented photographers that helped me out with some of the photographs. But you put together this schedule, like this planner, and you say, okay, on Tuesday I'm going to do whatever recipe that I've been developing, and you spend all day Tuesday developing that recipe, and at the end of the night you taste it and you're like, this tastes awful. This is horrible. There's no way it's going to make it in the book. So there's $100 worth of ingredients, an entire day gone. And so your schedule's backed up, and of course lighting is key for getting the right photos. So you got a recipe planned for a Tuesday and it rains and it's overcast all day. You've got no light. You've got to try to kind of deal with that issue. And so there's a number of things that I just didn't think about going into the book that I would certainly think about the next one. And I would say that after I finished the book, I probably thought I'd never do this again, not ever. And now that it's done, I'm like, I could probably do another one of these. That was actually kind of fun.
Matt Eads joining me here on the show. We're talking about the new book, Grill Seeker, Basic Training for Everyday Grilling, now available for pre-sale on Amazon. I'll actually put the link to that book in the post show notes as well. So in case you're wondering where you can get that, or just go on Amazon and, search Grill Seeker. I'm sure it'll come up. Matt, what's your favorite recipe in the book?
Ooh, I would say my favorite recipe, probably the polenta. Polenta is one of my, I do a sweet and spicy polenta that seems to be a crowd pleaser, and it's probably one of my favorites.
Is that the disc polenta, like the packed polenta, if you will?
So you can use that stuff, in a pinch. I prefer to use the actual grain and go old school with it. But yeah, you can use the packed polenta if you're in a real pinch. I don't recommend it myself, but and the recipe is written to use the actual grain. Mm-hmm. But yeah, that seems to be a crowd pleaser. People really like that one.
Matt, let's talk a little bit about foods and recipes. One of your fans, Al Dente Diva, wanted me to ask you about your take on quality of meat and how important it is. In other words, what to look for, what to avoid, and where do you get your meat from and why?
Yeah, okay. So let's start with what to avoid. I would say
brown meat.
Avoid the. Wait a minute. Now I understand that horse meat is something that you know something about. Is that true? Somebody told me that.
I would say that I'm the singular voice of trying to get it back on the legal thing here in America. But I know it does have quite a dark color to it.
Yeah. All right, so let's talk about what to avoid first. I would say that I would avoid labels that talk about, this is prime, this is choice, this is select. Understanding that, that sort of grading system is I don't know, it's kind of ambiguous. And one inspector might grade something prime that another one might not grade prime, and one might grade something choice that is better than choice. So don't get fooled, I would say, what to look out for. Don't get fooled by those labels and assume that because something says prime that it should bring more money. I would say what definitely to look out for is marbling, because oftentimes you'll find marbling on a choice cut that looks better than what's on a prime cut. So marbling obviously is very important for flavor and tenderness. So be conscious of that. That would be what I would say to look out for. I'd also say to try to be friendly with your butcher, like your local butcher. Those guys can, if you have a local butcher, certainly befriend them and have them give you some tips if you can. Next, I look for thickness. Depending on the thickness of the cut, that's how I'm going to cook the meat. If it's more than 1.5 inches thick or so, I know I'm going to do a reverse sear. Less than that, I'm probably going hot and fast. And then, of course, I'm cost conscious, right? I mean, would I love to have Wagyu beef every night? Of course, yeah. But I don't have that deep of pockets, so I'm conscious of costs.
Matt, are you a fan of dry aging?
I'm to an extent, I guess that's a tricky one. So to an extent, 21, 28 day dry aging, I think brings kind of a different flavor that I'm down with. Beyond that, like I've had some like super dry age stuff, 90-day stuff. And that is, in plenty of people love it. Don't get me wrong, but for my taste, 90 days, like that hyper dry age stuff is just a bit funky, bit nutty for me. So I would pass on that.
So would it be a total pass on that Adam Perry Lang 365-day dry age stuff that he was breaking out before he got arrested for swatting or whatever?
Yeah, man, I think, good on him. And that's some perseverance, that's some patience. But that's not for me. I think I'm rolling with a can of Spam before I go for something like that. That's just not my forte.
Well, one of the things that I'm seeing, I mean, it's been around forever, but, pat of butter on a steak as it's coming off the grill. I use some grilling oil. One of the things I saw on your website was herb butter. What's the recipe for that?
Yeah, it's pretty simple. It's one I've been making for a while. It's some chives, some garlic, a little bit of lemon zest, some olive oil, salt, pepper. Bring the butter up to room temperature, mix those things, and with it, a little bit of parsley too. Form it into a log and throw it back in the refrigerator. And it's just, it seems to be well received by everybody that's had it. You can get, any sort of grade of meat, throw that on there, and it's going to taste like $1 million.
So just as it comes off, just drop a knob on there, let it melt and do its thing.
That's exactly right. As the steak is resting, and everybody or most people probably know it. If you don't, you should probably let your meat rest for, depending on the size of the meat, for a period of time after it comes off the grill. And so while it's resting, I put a big blob of butter on there, put a tent over it, and just let that butter kind of ooze into the meat while the meat is resting. And for me, there's not really much better.
One of the other things that I saw on your website, aside from that herb butter, was the rosemary salt. And I think, everybody is back into the specialty salts and all this other stuff, but this is something that appears to be easy to make and brings a new flavor to the table.
Oh, it's so easy to make, and it's awesome. I don't know if you love lamb or not, but I'm a huge lamb fan, and so it's incredible on lamb. And so the story behind that really is I was buying the stuff. You can buy it pre-made, right? There's a number of people that make the pre-made rosemary salt or smoked salts or whatever.
Sure.
And it's sort of cleverly packaged, right? So you think, oh, this isn't so bad. It's like 10 or 11 bucks. And I was using it all the time. And when you add it up, you're like, geez, this is like 35 bucks a pound for salt.
Yeah.
And I thought, I can certainly do this, right? So it took a handful of tries to sort it out, but it's really so simple. It's flake salt, some lemon zest, and rosemary, and some various runs through the coffee grinder or spice grinder, whatever you have, and you can make this stuff for like $3 a pound as opposed to buying it. So I have been doing a ton of rosemary, some smoked salts. There's recipes for smoked salts in the book, but you can have a lot of fun with salt. I mean, it just takes smoke really, really well. And paired with the rosemary, it's just incredible on any number of things. My favorite is lamb. Spoiler alert: I'm doing a show, in Napa Valley. It's called Yountville Live, and I'm doing a cooking presentation there. I'm doing some lamb and polenta, as a matter of fact. And so I'll be doing some rosemary crusted lamb there in Yountville in March, I guess it is, at the Yountville Live Wine and Food Festival.
Matt, you want to do a lightning round before I let you go?
Let's do it.
All right, here we go. True or false? Searing seals in the juices.
False.
Yes or no? I still have the first barbecue pit I ever owned.
No.
Let it rest or let's eat?
Let it rest.
Radio or podcast?
Podcast.
Bourbon or gin?
Bourbon.
Old-fashioned or Sazerac?
Old-fashioned, no question.
Oh, beef brisket or pork ribs?
I'm going beef ribs.
Guy Fieri or Bobby Flay?
Bobby Flay.
Better question. Ina Garten or Ree Drummond?
Ree Drummond.
Open pit or Sweet Baby Ray's?
Sweet Baby Ray's.
Yes! Finally! Oh my God, you know how long it's been since somebody decided to say Sweet Baby? It's been open pit, I think, ever since I've asked that for now like 3 months. So, Matt Eads.
Really? That's interesting.
You are winning. You're winning, Matt. Thank God for you. I knew you were my best.
I actually, I had the opportunity to spend about 45 minutes sitting at a picnic table with Dave Raymond, who is actually Sweet Baby Ray.
Yeah.
And he's since sold the company, but what a terrific guy he is with a terrific story. And the sauce is, I've used that sauce for a long, long time, and I've been a big fan. But if anyone gets the opportunity to have 5 minutes with Dave Raymond, it's definitely worth your time. He's a super nice guy.
Matt Eads is the Grill Seeker. You can find him at grillseeker.com, on Instagram at grillseeker, and of course, go to Amazon and check out his new book, which is available for pre-sale. That is called Grill Seeker Basic Training for Everyday Grilling, releasing April 9th. Matt, really appreciate the time here tonight. Thanks so much for doing it.
Thanks for having me on the show. I appreciate it. I hope I get to do it again.
You got it. There he is. Matt Eads, the Grill Seeker. I just like saying Grill Seeker a lot. Grill Seeker. Want to schedule your next call? Not with you, Skype. Go F off. I hate you.
Big stuff out of here.
God, I hate you, Skype. Let me talk to you quickly about Big Papa Smokers. The one-stop online shop for all things barbecue. Their curated selection of only the best outdoor cooking and grilling supplies will get you on the path to better barbecue results in no time. Everything at BigPapaSmokers.com has been Pitmaster approved by Sterling Big Papa Ball himself, from the award-winning rubs and sauces to the American-made grills and smokers. Big Papa's has everything you need to be a better outdoor cook. They also have these great rubs and seasonings, popular flavors like Sweet Money, Cattle Prod, Cash Cow, Little Louie's, Regular Money, all proven winners on the competition circuit and in my backyard. Big Papa Smokers offers 13 perfectly balanced flavors that will transform ordinary meals into extraordinary. They also have a unique partnership with Steph Franklin over at Simply Marvelous Barbecue. They have formed the West Coast offense. Pretty much everybody is using it and winning. They also own Granny's Barbecue Sauce. Looking for a new go-to sauce? Try Granny's. They also have a bunch of other great barbecue sauces to choose from, aside from those premium selections of rubs and sauces. They have the very best pellet, charcoal, and wood cookers available today. If you're looking for a versatile smoker that's easy to use, check out that Mac 2-Star General Pellet Grill. Big Papa Smokers is the exclusive Mac dealer, and they offer special packages as well. If you're not a fan of the pellet smokers, okay, check out the new Old Hickory Ace BP. It's the only charcoal smoker that Big Papa trusts on his competition trailer. If you're a backyard enthusiast like me, looking for a durable and versatile grill that will last forever, the M Grill from Texas is just what you need. They're built like tanks. Not sure what kind of grill you need? I can understand that frustration. You really can't go wrong with any of the grills that are featured on BigPapaSmokers.com. It's the place to go for all things barbecue. Every product featured on their website, hand-selected to help you barbecue better. If you have any questions, give them a shout. 877-828-0727, or shop the website, BigPapaSmokers.com. That's BigPapaSmokers.com. Wrapping up the first hour. Stick around. We'll be right back.
Big name interviews, advice on cooking brisket and ribs, and the only host willing to share his honest opinion on all things important in the world of barbecue. It's the Barbecue Central Show.
All right, we are back. Thanks again to Matt Eads, the Grill Seeker, for joining me the past two segments. Again, the book is going to be out April 9th. It is available for pre-sale right now. I mean, that's really big with Amazon right now. Push the pre-sale! I think last week he was #1 in pre-sale or something like that, with new books coming out. If I'm speaking out of school there, I apologize, but I believe I saw something like, or he was doing really well in the ranks on pre-sale. So again, the name of the book is Grill Seeker Basic Training for Everyday Grilling. I will link it up in the show notes. So if you don't want to bother going to Amazon right now and taking a look for it, you don't have to. I will provide you that courtesy, a professional courtesy. April 9th, that release date. His website again, grillseeker.com, and on Instagram at grillseeker. 31,000 of you like Matt a lot. I like watching him cook lobster and scrimps and steaks on the Lynx products. I know we got done talking about being like nice and ethical and having morals, but Lynx, I have none of that. Help me.
Get that big stuff out of here.
I live in Cleveland. I'm trapped. Help me. right, we're back for the second hour. You're listening and watching the Barbecue Central show right here on the Barbecue Central Network. Stick around, I'll be right back.
Hello, this is Jenny Bell from Clarington, Ohio, and I'm listening to Barbecue Central.
Happy to have you aboard here for the really big barbecue show.
Boing. We cook because we have to, and we grill because we want to.
Hit me.
Fine, how you doing?
You have a great show. I'm a big fan.
Boing.
So what seems to be the problem here? This man looks like he's dead, and he's in the crackle.
Charbono. It's all about the charbono, dude.
Succulent fish. What?
He ate 54 wieners.
So listen, Libertius, shut your face.
I'm shaking like a dog shit peach seeds.
We have top men working on it right now. Top men.
And just like that, we are into the second hour. Welcome in. You found the Barbecue Central show on purpose or by mistake. No matter. You found, sit right down, relax, take a load off. If you were wondering if there's any shows out there that talk about the live fire industry, yes, this is the one. Somehow you've lucked into it. Available on podcast as well, so you don't have to commit on the live show, but we certainly love the live show people for doing that. Find me on Instagram and Twitter at BBQ Central Show / BBQ Central Show on Facebook, Periscope, simulcasting the video as well. Tune in. Everywhere where you can get live audio or video that counts, and anywhere you can get a podcast after the fact that counts, you can get this show. Just search for it. Still to come, Max Good, next segment, and Oscar Garcia, the winner of the San Antonio Rodeo Barbecue event. Coming up on the best moments of the Barbecue Central show in 10 minutes or less this Friday, none other than the guy that we just kind of were talking about in the chat room. Doubleheader with Ted Reeder. Of course, the topic is going to be things that you should be eating this weekend, doing the soup or bowl parties that you might have. Staying free and clear of lawsuits from the NFL. So if you plan on having a big soup or bowl party Sunday, Ted Reeder on the best moments of the Barbecue Central show in 10 minutes or less that will be released this Friday is going to be something you're going to want to listen to. 2015, I believe, is the one that reaches back to. So fairly recent. We've had some 10-year-old ones now, 11-year-old ones. Very excited. The show is going to be celebrating a big birthday, big milestone coming up in February. You know we're going to be doing something special for that I haven't figured out yet, because now I'm just thinking about it. Big number coming up. Big number. Also, don't forget that I appear on this thing called the John Cupo Show every Friday morning. So if you're local Willoughby, Ohio, or within a 15-minute radius of Willoughby, I mean, it's not a blowtorch like WTAM or whatever big news radio station is in your market that gets 2 hours out in any direction. It's the opposite of that. But 15, 20 minutes. Typically when I get downtown Cleveland, that reception cuts out. And then I pick up the real transmitting radio stations. 1330 on your AM dial if you're in Willoughby or surrounding, or simulcast at 101.5 FM for those of you that are local. Otherwise, forget all that and just go over to wintradio.com. And if you hang out there this Friday and you're listening on the stream, rating it 1 to 10. Tell me how good you think that audio stream sounds. I'm trying to have an active hand in making sure they sound as good as possible in all outlets. Why have FM quality on the frequency modulated band and then have stuff that sounds like string and tin cans online? That's where everybody's listening. Does anybody even listen to the radio anymore? Satellite radio, sure. I listen to satellite radio. Big Howard Stern fan, of course. It's nice that Romy went over to CBS Sports Radio. They're on Series 2. Convenience more or less. If I can't even begin to think that when Howard Stern retires, what I'm going to do. What am I going to listen to? I'm so scared I don't even think about it. I don't fear death. I fear that when the Howard Stern Show leaves the airwaves, there will be such a void and a vacuum the earth might suck into itself. Or the earth just might suck. I don't want to talk about it any further. I do want to get back to an old take of mine, however. From time to time, I like to reevaluate my stance on certain things that maybe I didn't agree with or that I hated. And tonight, I'm hoping to revisit my take on the Bloody Mary, or as we say around here in the compound, the Bloody. I was watching my girl Robin Lindars take part in a Steak Cook-Off Association event that was being hosted at the Shed this past weekend. Which, by the way, she finished 33rd out of 90 teams on the steak. So, Robin, shout out, top third. We will recap that with her in a few weeks when she's back on for her monthly segment. But part of that event was a Bloody Mary ancillary category, which Robin finished third in. I want to point out the obvious, but Robin should be entering a lot more Bloody Mary contests than she should be entering in steak contests. Neither here nor there. I looked at Robin's entry, then I saw what won second, then I saw what won first. Gang, I am here to tell you, there is no doubt in my mind that my original take on Bloody Marys going over the top to the point of utter ridiculousness has never rang more true than it does this very second of the day. Now, correct me if I'm wrong here, but this is a drink category, right? I'm here to tell you that those Bloody Marys that took top spots in that event down there at the Shed were more weighted on appearance than taste. They had to be. And don't tell me I'm full of it. All you have to do is take a look at those entries. Cheeseburgers, whole crabs, crab legs, prawns, pork belly buttons, every type of freaking vegetable available on earth, roots, legumes, all hanging off the glass. How the fuck do you even drink that thing? It has to take 10 minutes to deconstruct the food to access the actual drink itself. I can see a celery stalk, maybe a piece of bacon or jerky as a mixer, but this other stuff, give me a break. It's totally outrageous. And while I have no proof to back this up, and I mean no proof, it has to be the main reason that every other country in this world hates us. Because our Bloody Mary drinks are so out of control. They are so outrageous. Show me a Bloody Mary contest that judges on drink alone, no garnish. Then we'll see who can make the best bloody. By the way, I think any bloody garnished ridiculously or not is gross. I've tried them. I tried them again. Tried them again. No thanks. This is not color my take on bloodies, just my taste. By the way, I showed these pictures to my wife without any context. Without any context. without blinking an eyelash. She said, that's so fucking stupid. So there you have it. I'm right again. Stand by. Hey, get the thing? Got it on? Ladies and gentlemen, I'm here to show you one thing. Out of nowhere, neighbor Desmond is in. I have a terrible green screen here. I can't even really see you that well. Oh, dear.
Well, I was unexpected, so don't worry about
Yes,
it.
camera. Okay, that needs to tilt up. Hold on. Oh, yeah. Look at this guy. Neighbor D, what's up?
Happy to be here.
Desmond's in, baby, yeah! Look at this
Happy
guy.
to be here.
What happened? Is it too cold for you to go to work tomorrow, so now you can hang out?
Pretty much. I don't have to go to work. We got called off.
Really?
Yeah. They closed banks, apparently.
You're not like in the 5th grade and you got called off. You actually have a real job and work called you off?
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah, shit's crazy.
Wow. Well, I mean, I'm glad your first thought was to come over and hang out for the second hour. That's great.
You absolutely right.
All right, move that microphone a little closer to your face.
I had to come show my support.
All right. Move that microphone closer to your face. What are you talking about?
That work?
Yes. Way better.
Alrighty.
All right. Well, we got a lot of good things happening here in the second hour, Desmond. We have Max Good from Amazing Ribs coming up. We also have the winner of the San Antonio Rodeo Barbecue Cook-Off, 35 past. Can you deal with that?
Absolutely.
All right. Well,
let's do this.
Look at this. Desmond's in. Very excited. All right. Let me talk to you quickly about the Barbecue Guru. We've always believed that outdoor cooking should be easy because it can be, especially with the Monolith Barbecue Guru Edition grill. The Monolith is the world's first temperature-controlled smoker with a built-in power draft fan. This means smarter control and greater freedom with automatic temperature control. Easily choose your cooking time and temperature. Let the Monolith do the work of a sous chef or a barbecue pitmaster with minimal effort. You now have oven-like precision at the grill, and you can serve the tastiest, juiciest meals each and every time. If you currently have a Barbecue Guru temperature controller, you don't need to buy a new one. All you need to do is hook that controller right to the fan that's built in to the Monolith. bbqguru.com or 800-288-GURU. That's all you need. All you need. All right, Max Good coming up. Neighbor Desmond is in. Things have taken a turn from bad to great. Things weren't actually going bad. Desmond, are Bloody Marys out of hand with the amount of decoration?
Absolutely.
Yes. Okay.
Absolutely. You just need a good salt and pepper vodka. Absolute provides one, and you're good to go.
Are you sponsored by them?
No.
Maybe they should sponsor.
Maybe Sam should be sponsored. My father-in-law. Maybe Sam should be sponsored.
Yeah.
He's the one that makes them for me.
All right.
Things are fucking awesome.
Yeah. Well, neighbor Desmond must have been drinking. He's already sworn 3 times here on this show. Look out.
I walked in and I heard you going,
yeah, but this is my show. I'm allowed to say whatever I want. Your mic's off now, pal. How about that? All right, we'll be back with Max Good. Stick around. Be right back. Uh-oh. Hold on. I was messing around with my thing here. Oh, we got an issue. Don't worry, I got it.
Big name interviews, advice on cooking brisket and ribs, and the only host willing to share his honest opinion on all things important in the world of barbecue. It's the Barbecue Central Show.
All right, welcome back. This portion of the show being brought to you by Smithfield. Are you signed up? Desmond, are you signed up for the Smokin' with Smithfield National Barbecue Championship?
I am not.
Oh, well, register you can for free, my friend. So sign up today. Hit the website, smokinwithsmithfield.com for all the details. That's smokinwithsmithfield.com. Promise that you'll do it?
Of course.
All right.
I go to Costco and buy Smithfield ribs all the time.
Great. Good product placement, Desmond. You're getting the hang of it.
It's working out.
Hey, we missed him the last couple of times, but he's here and ready to rock and roll. It's the keeper of the flame over at AmazingRibs.com. Max Good joins us here on the show. Max, how are you, buddy?
Hey, doing all right. Good to see you again, pal.
Max, say hello to neighbor Desmond.
Hey, what's happening?
My audio went out. I can't hear.
What do you mean your audio went out?
I can't hear.
You can't hear?
I can't hear.
Oh, hold on. How about that? How about that?
No.
How about that?
Perfect.
Yes.
Yes.
How,
We're in there.
How did you hear me before?
Because.
Was I just yelling that
Pretty
loud?
much.
It made it through the earphones? Oh, wow.
Pretty
Crazy.
much.
All right. Well, Max Good is in the house
Max,
here.
how you doing?
Doing good. How about you, Des?
I'm doing fairly well. I appreciate you asking.
It's very cold outside. Neighbor Desmond was called off of work tomorrow, if you can believe it.
That's happening here too,
Much
guys.
like
How cold is it by you?
It promises to be ambient -10 or so in the morning. So, it'll be probably -25, 30 after the wind chill.
Yeah.
Yeah,
We're calling for a -29 tomorrow.
Yes. All right. Well, Max wins. Who's going to be colder? All right, Max. So we have a bunch of stuff to get through here this evening, and I was trying to figure out a way to tap into this. This is the only way I can think of it. Hell has frozen over, Max, just in time for the real cold hitting.
I guess that explains it then.
We're going to be talking about two grills, or cookers, I guess you could say, and from manufacturers that I would typically scoff at, but we should hold off the scoffing until we talk to Max.
Well, I will tell you, I scoffed a lot at the first one I'm going to talk about, and that's Char Griller.
Yeah.
Because I fell victim to what many poor schmoes did. Before I met Meathead, I said, I got to get a smoker.
Yep.
And dang it, those offset smokers look cool. I'm just going to buy this Char Griller offset smoker for $150 at Home Depot. And they're just almost, some of your listeners will disagree. They'll go, well, I went and I did all this work on it. I welded it. I bought all these gaskets and stuff, but and I got it to work okay. But I can tell you, they just don't work well. That's why we don't recommend them. However, I did try one of their gas grills that's kind of a modified charcoal barrel, and they've been on the market a long time, but I was scoffing away.
Right.
But they got a new guy, and he called me, and I said, all right, send me one of those gas grills. And I must say, they had relatively high-powered burners, just a 3-burner gas grill, about 13,000 plus BTU input on them. And the thing that I really was impressed is it's seared better than even more expensive gas grills. And it costs, you can get it from less than $200.
Really?
Now, yeah. Now, don't get your name and, put on it or anything, because they aren't going to last forever. But if you're in that price range, forget about all the bells and whistles and lights on the knobs and all that. I'm telling you, this thing will out-sear just about anything I've tried, in the lower price ranges. Let me make that clear. It's a little difficult to bring down for smoking and roasting, but it can be done just like with any gas grill. Usually the typical problem you have with particularly inexpensive gassers is they don't get hot, but they're still don't go down to 225 if you want to, even with all the burners on low. So you got to go 2-zone setups anyway. Anyway, that one blew me away, and we're definitely recommending it to people that are in that price range.
Let's ask a question here. Desmond and I are both fairly avid outdoor cooks, especially when the weather picks up. And I say when the weather picks up, anything that's above freezing or warmer than that, and not torrentially raining. So we might be outside cooking 3 and 4 and 5 days a week, maybe more. What kind of a general lifespan are you seeing out of this Char Griller Grilling Pro realistically?
They gave it, as I recall, they gave it something like a 5-year warranty on the body, and maybe it could go because it's a little heavier gauge steel than the really flimsy stainless steel stuff. Although they it's funny. Once I determined that it got really hot, it gets up above 800 degrees when you got everything cranked up.
Really?
I'm looking at their manual, and it says don't let it get above 450. I go, wait a minute. So I talked to the guys, and they issued an official statement, which I have at my review at AmazingRibs.com, which essentially says allow it to get as hot as it can, but be forewarned it'll reduce the life of the grill. I don't know. I don't know. I mean, if you put a cover on it, they actually make pretty good covers. Char griller covers are pretty good. And of course it also depends on how much you use it. But, there's probably some people that just keep them going for a long time. I can't see it lasting. Certainly not as good as a Weber or a higher quality grill.
Right. Desmond, turn your lights on there so we can get some of the green screen haze out of there. And so this is under $200 or $200?
Yeah, I mean, the list is like $199. Yeah. So, and there you can always get them on sales. I shouldn't say always, but it happens quite a bit with those kind of products.
All right. So is this like a gold medal?
I gave it a gold medal.
Yeah.
Because we always weigh in the price too. And for $200 or less, it's pretty amazing to me.
Yeah.
And I like that kind of stuff. I think, Greg, we talked about it. I get to try some things that I wouldn't have bought myself, thousands and thousands of dollars. And it's like, wow, this is great. And most of that stuff works pretty good, and it better, for that kind of money. But I still have my heart with the peoples, us peoples, that aren't going to spend several $1,000s.
Yeah.
But they want something that will work for them, and particularly for somebody who's on a budget, who $200 is about all I can swing right now. I definitely have to recommend that one.
All right, the other one is from Masterbuilt.
Masterbuilt.
I gotta be honest. Let me make sure that we're coming from a position of correctness here. I'm not intimating that you also said that I did, but I haven't not been a fan of Masterbuilt, but I don't necessarily think I've been a fan of Masterbuilt. So I'm interested to hear about it.
They're actually, we had some bad experiences with them a few years back, but I saw them. It looked just like going and seeing their equipment. That the quality was getting better, the builds were getting better. We haven't tested a lot of their stuff, but actually, a big investment company purchased Masterbuilt and Smoke Hollow, and get this, Kamado Joe.
Oh, really?
So all three brands are run by this. I don't know if I should say they're run by this company, but they're somehow interconnected now. It is kind of, Smoke Hollow and Masterbuilt, that doesn't make, it's not as surprising. But Kamado Joe, I was a little surprised. Let's see what happens. But I wonder if that coincides with this innovation that Masterbuilt has come up with their new gas cabinet smoker. They call their thermotemps. They come in two sizes. And this is what's groundbreaking about it, is that it is a thermostatically controlled gas cooker. And you just don't see many of those outside. Meathead and I have been harping about it forever. It's like, we got them indoors. Why can't you get them outside? And I hear a lot of different explanations. I think it's coming. But I have to fall back on the idea that if it could be done easily and affordably, it would be done. At any rate, this thing, it's got a temperature range of 175 to about 350, and you just set it. There's no thermostat on it. You'd probably, if you have your own digital thermometer, wouldn't hurt to put it in there. But it was a breeze to work with. It had some other really neat features about it. It had a fuel gauge for the LP tank, which was different. Charborough is using these. They're not based on weight like the Weber gas LP gauges. They're based on pressure inside the tank. And that I couldn't tell you how well it works, but it is a nice feature. It has a flame sensor. So if the flame blows out on the burner, it automatically shuts off the gas, so you don't have an issue with that. It's 2 doors, which many upright gas smokers have, but that's always nice. But it has a really neat wood tray that's attached to the lower door. So when you swing the lower door out, the tray is attached, to the door, so you don't have to slide the tray out. And I don't know, it was just really cool, man.
What was the price range on that one?
Oh, they actually goosed the MSRP on. When I reviewed it, it was $350, and now they want $450 for it. But they're unloading. All they did was change the logo from the original model, and they're unloading those, so you can get deals on them if you can find them. I even confirmed it with them because some of our readers were asking, are these different specs? Is there anything different about it? And Masterbuilt told me all it's different is the logo on the lower door. So grab those old ones up if you can, and hopefully we'll see. That's the kind of brand, once again, you always see specials on them.
And you said that you turn it on and you have no real ability to control finite temperature.
Well, no, it's thermostatically controlled. There's a thermostat inside. It's in that sense, if people are familiar with pellet smokers, you set it like an indoor kitchen oven.
Okay, so you can set it to 225 or 350 and it'll just stay there.
Yes, exactly. And maximum range is about 350.
Got it. Do we have, Desmond, do you have any questions for Max yet?
Not necessarily. I was just doing some research on now this is the Masterbuilt stack, Masterbuilt, was this the 44?
The 340.
340, okay.
Yeah.
Looking at the wrong one.
All right.
Well, that's the larger one.
Yeah.
They make a smaller one. I forget what, 30 or something, 300. So it's offered in 2 sizes, but they're identical in their features and performance. And yeah, it's nice. Gas smokers are pretty nice. They work really well.
Max, are we allowed to talk at all about the thing that you got your hands on recently, which is it's my favorite grill manufacturer. I know Desmond owns a kettle version of this manufacturer's grill. We're all, what can I say? We're all pretty big fans of Weber here. And I remember, was it a year ago or maybe it was 2 years ago now, Max, that we were talking about a big Genesis revamp and taking a bunch of different models under one name and blah, blah, blah. And so
well, actually 2018, I think something went haywire in the land of Weber, and that's pretty rare. They're pretty dang good about what they do, and I share your appreciation of the brand. But boy, when they rolled out their Genesis 2 for 2018, we were wondering what the heck was going on. Where there were a lot of things we were upset about or disappointed about, and rather than relive the past, when they came up with the new, I call it the Genesis 2 2.0, they've sort of reined a bunch of elements in that they were trying to do, went back to a lot of basics, and I think what they've come up with is they're back to where Genesis used to be in many ways. I got one on my deck now, but it's under about a foot of snow. And did I mention it's -6 degrees out there?
I've heard, yes.
Yeah, I did a couple little tests on it, but I haven't cooked on it yet. But I have high hopes from just the little bit I've seen. One of the things we disliked about the 2018 Genesis, they broke it up into 2 lines. They had their standard Genesis and the Genesis LX, and the LX was really expensive. In my view, it was like halfway between what the previous tried and true beloved Genesis line was and their top of the line Summits. And you're like, what do you get for this? All the burners were underpowered. They had this kooky system where they did not allow any they did not offer any sear burners on any model.
Yeah.
And they said, well, you don't need it because on the LX models, the dial goes up to super hot. I forget what they called it. And we were all joking. We were going, this is like Spinal Tap, where the dials go up to 11 on their Marshall amplifiers, and it was still underpowered. The one I got on my deck, the main burners are higher powered than the ones on the LX model. And it's like, well, okay, well, you put an extra notch on the knob and you say that's a searing system, and it was disappointing. I have high hopes for this. As always with Weber, beautifully made, beautifully designed. I was just saying to one of the retailers recently that since I just slapped this one together, I wouldn't say I enjoy putting grills and smokers together, but with Weber, it's a more pleasant experience because everything is so well thought out. Even when they design them, they think about who's going to put them together and how they're going to package them, and it's noticeable.
Max Good, AmazingRibs.com, joining us here on the show. Max, you want to do a lightning round before I let you go?
Oh, sure.
All right.
Excuse me. I had a little
Max
cold.
is dying over there. Max, come back to us. All right, here we go. Fun list of questions we're going to race through. First answer on the top of your head. There's no wrong answers unless it's wrong, and then I'll let you know. True or false, searing seals in the juices?
False.
Yes or no, you still have the first barbecue pit you ever owned?
I don't, and one of the things that's making me cry is my 24-year-old Weber Performer. The kettle was still working, although the lower vents were getting a little flimsy. The frame blew out on it.
Oh, no.
I finally put it out by the mailbox, and it was gone immediately. I hope somebody
I bet.
light it up and use it. But I got a Summit charcoal grill on my deck, and I said, nah, well.
All right, let it rest or let it eat?
Well, yeah, this idea of now we're talking about steaks.
Max,
you don't need to let a
Max. No dissertation. Give me the answer for Christ's sake.
No, don't let it rest. Sorry.
All right, radio or podcast?
What's that?
Radio or podcast?
Oh, well, of course, a podcast.
Bourbon or gin?
Bourbon.
Old fashioned or Sazerac?
I'll say old fashioned.
Beef brisket or pork ribs?
Beef brisket.
Guy Fieri or Bobby Flay?
Bobby Flay. No insult, God.
Ina Garten or Ree Drummond?
What's that?
Ina Garten or Ree Drummond?
Ina Garten.
Open pit or Sweet Baby Ray's?
Sweet Baby Ray's.
All right, 2 for 2. Good for you. Goodness. All right, Max Good. It can be found here on this show once a quarter, talking about what's new and happening in the world of live fire cooking when it comes to cookers. You can keep up with him over at AmazingRibs.com. He's the keeper of the flame. Max, thanks so much for coming on.
Thank you. It's always my pleasure, Greg. And Des.
It has been a pleasure.
All right, guys. Mutual love fest. I can see you. All right, there we go. Well, now I got to get us back in to the shot. Oh, man, I didn't even know you were coming. Now my shot's all jacked.
It's all right, man. It's all right. Hey, check this out. I went to, remember I texted you the other day about the opening of City
Barbecue. City Barbecue, right?
I actually went today for lunch.
And?
It was actually pretty damn good.
Yeah?
Yeah. Right. I was pleasantly surprised. I talked to I stumped the kid behind the register, though, because I got 2 meats. I got the chicken and I got the brisket.
Yeah.
And I go, hey, let me ask you a quick question. And he goes, what's up? I go, hey, with that brisket, is this the point or the flat? And he goes,
oh, he didn't know.
He had no idea.
Really?
He had no idea. I mean, young kid, but the manager came and he was like, well, we use the entire brisket. We get them in and we season them, we smoke them, and we cut them from start to finish. And I go, okay. I said, I was just curious. I'm not the, You're
not the snob?
I'm not the snob.
That you're trying to be?
No.
All right, well, good. All right, so I should
undercook the steak.
I should check them out, right?
Yeah, you should.
All right.
Yeah. They gave me free banana pudding also.
Oh, free banana pudding.
You can't go wrong with free shit.
Now, you're going to need to move to your right a little bit, I think. Again? Yes. And move back. Why the hell did you move up so far?
That's where
I got my got my junk.
Yeah, it's all good.
That was funny. I got my junk. All right. Neighbor Desmond is in.
What's happening, folks?
That was Max Good talking about new cookers. I'm going to talk to you quickly about Southside Market and Barbecue, established in 1882. Southside, the oldest barbecue joint in Texas, and they have been owned and operated by the same family for 3 generations. Famous for the original beef sausage, the coarse ground in a natural pork casing, authentic Central Texas barbecue as well. All meats, including the prime briskets, slow smoked and slow smoked for many hours over real Texas post oak wood. Shipping nationwide via the online store, SouthsideMarket.com. They also ship fresh and smoked sausages nationwide. Shipping customers can choose to order now, ship later, include a custom gift note, and mail to multiple addresses without additional shipping charges. That's what I did, sending out gifts this year. All shipped items vacuum sealed to ensure freshness, ease of preparation for the customer. Shipped on dry ice to ensure complete freshness upon arrival. All meats processed in that on-site USDA inspected facility. On-site meat markets for fresh and smoked products. Custom orders are welcome. 2 restaurants for you to try. Elgin, Texas since 1882. Bastrop, Texas since 2014. Grocery distribution through Texas and many surrounding states. You can get 10% off your order right now if you go to SouthsideMarket.com and use code BBQ Central. Lowercase, one word, BBQ Central. Anything at SouthsideMarket.com at checkout. Who doesn't want to save 10%? Desmond, I know you want to save 10%.
I know. I always want to save money.
Who doesn't? Now I got to resize because you moved back. Trying to get us to look like we're really looking at each other. Look to your left. Yeah. See, we just looked at each other. So weird. All right. We are back with Oscar Garcia. Stick around. We'll be right back.
Continuing to produce incredibly mediocre content in an exceptionally professional way. You're listening and watching the Barbecue Central Show. Once again, here's your host, Greg Rampey.
All right, welcome back. This portion of the show is being brought to you by Fireboard. Monitor up to 6 different temperatures simultaneously. Connect to Wi-Fi for cloud-based monitoring or connect via the Bluetooth. If you have Alexa or the Google Assistant, you're in luck because Fireboard is fully integrated with both. Find out more by visiting fireboard.com or call 816-945-2232. Sure, I'm dialing the right number. I thought I was going to call the guy from Sweden. I don't want to do that. Helping me close the show tonight, aside from Desmond, is a guy who can now add San Antonio Rodeo Barbecue Cook-Off Grand Champion to his resume. It's a huge win, and some might argue it's one of the biggest in Texas during the year. Here to recap the win and the weekend is the pitmaster of 03 Barbecue. It is Oscar Garcia joining us here on the show. Oscar, how are you, buddy?
I'm good. Good evening. How are y'all doing?
Doing absolutely fabulous, Oscar. Neighbor Desmond is sitting in as well tonight, so he's very honored to be talking to a Texas champion, no doubt. Oscar, first time on the show, so we're going to get a little background on you first, but there is a bit of a bet going on amongst some of us here in the background talking about what 03 stands for, so give us the real answer and make one of us a winner.
Well, I'm actually the third Oscar. My grandfather's Oscar, my dad's Oscar, and I'm the third, so it just seemed fitting to be the 03 barbecue.
Well, I guess I won $25. Yes, I did. Thank you.
Congratulations to you.
10% cut, absolutely. I always like to give 10% to the people that are helping me out. All right, Oscar, so let's talk a little bit about your background. I mean, I don't want to just assume that you're kind of a Texas born and bred guy, but if you are, I assume being around live fire is part and parcel of the whole lifestyle.
Yeah, you're exactly right. Born and raised Harlan, Texas. Couldn't wait to leave, and it seems like once it was time to leave, I didn't want to leave, and so here I am. Never left.
Was that just like the rebellious youth of wanting to get out from under wing, or like did you have some other ideas of why you wanted to get out?
No, I just wanted to explore. I've always been a traveling kind of person, and always looking for the unknown. And it just seems that that everything that I love to do is here. I love to hunt, I love to fish, and I love to barbecue. I love warm weather. So it was just all just fitting to be here.
Oscar Garcia joining me here on the show, pitmaster of 03 Barbecue. When are you exposed to competition barbecue? I mean, a lot of us, especially down in your neck of the woods, it's something you just kind of grow up around, but competition is certainly a whole different monster. So did you get introduced to it through a friend? Did you see something in a magazine, or how are you brought into it?
No, actually, that's exactly how it started. Was through a friend, real dear good friend of mine, David Michael Gonzalez, and it kind of started out as a joke, and we went out there and hit up a barbecue event, and we just got hooked, and that was the end of that. This all started probably about 4 years ago, and I established 03 Barbecue back in April of 2018 in Beeville, Texas at Springfest, and my wife and I, Valerie, did real well, and we just always had a dream to keep doing it, and we ended up putting a plan together, and it became a goal, and here we are today.
So you got, what is it, a year? Is it just a year or not even a year yet?
No, actually this April will be our 1 year anniversary to have 03 Barbecue.
So were you competing with your friend there for a little while too before you started 03 then?
We did. We made a run at it, and we actually got a top 10 in the IBCA organization our first year of cooking, and it really planted a seed, and we're watering that tree as much as we can.
Do you guys just decide that you wanted to be your own pit master and your friend wanted to be his own pit master, and that's why you end up going your own ways, or what's the deal with that?
No, actually, I really enjoy traveling, and I wanted to take this to another level as far as going out of state, and so that's why I did it. Him and I still cook side by side. We'll go to events and we'll be together, but I ventured off into West Texas. I ventured to North Texas, Central Texas. I even went to New Mexico, and it's just something my family and I enjoy doing. We enjoy traveling, and I visited more towns that I didn't even know existed in Texas now because of barbecue.
Is it all like IBCA stuff or a Texas sanction, or will you get into FBA and KCBS too?
Actually, I'm going to venture into KCBS in the near future. I really want to get my machine real nice, well oiled, and once I feel that, we'll take we'll step a different direction. But right now, it's definitely just IBCA. When we first started out, we actually paid some guy to let us sit at his camp so we could watch how an IBCA event ran, as far as turn-in times and when you start doing things, and just to see how the process is, and I'll probably end up doing that for a KCBS event.
Oscar Garcia joining me here on the show, pitmaster of 03 Barbecue. Oscar, have you competed in the San Antonio event before?
I did. This is actually my second year. Been real lucky to be able to return. United Rentals is our big sponsor there, Monster Grillers, over there with Kim and Carlos. They get our spot every year, and we're very fortunate to be a part of that.
So let's go ahead and take a look back at this past weekend from a cooking standpoint and a camp standpoint. Anything crazy happen, or did it seem like this was a championship-style cook for you guys?
No, it's every cook always has its little hiccups, and this one was no different. Once you get to cooking these big events, it's not really about what you do right; it's what you do wrong, and if you can minimize what you do wrong, that's usually when you come out on top. We did have some hiccups. The weather wasn't cooperating. It was real cold. I didn't have my cook trailer like I normally do, and so I had to cook out of a pop-up tent, and I slept on site, and my heater went out probably at 4 in the morning. I couldn't even feel my feet. So it was definitely a out of the norm cook. But we adjusted. We did what we had to do, and we had to start our rec tech a little earlier, just because of how cold it was. But a machine like that, once they're started and get going, they're just amazing. They make things happen.
From a proteins standpoint, I would assume everything seems to go on track for you guys. You have a pretty solid program that you're working as far as briskets, ribs, and chicken.
Yeah, we have a plan and we don't deviate. We like to think that our stuff is pretty good, and if we do make changes, it's very minor. But for the most part, we stay to the plan.
When winners are announced, I know that some of maybe it's all of them, the Texas stuff, or at least IBCA, they do this ticketing system where they give you tickets, and then the guy actually calling out the winners is just reading out numbers, and then everybody quickly scans the tickets to see if they're the person that has the winning ticket, and then everybody realizes, oh, well, it's Oscar that won, or is this a similar situation?
Exactly the way it goes. I don't even know the numbers. My wife takes care of that. And when she nudges me, that means time to walk.
Do you wish that they would get out of the whole ticketing thing and have your name called at the end instead of taking that? I don't know, what is it? Could be 20 seconds. I mean, what happens if somebody's going to take a leak and they have the ticket? Then you still call it the number and you got to wait for them to get back. Would you rather hear your name announced out versus the number and then the process of looking at it and then going, oh, hey, wait, that's me. Bingo.
I wouldn't think, or I don't feel it's that big of a deal. Of course, that's just my opinion. As far as the whole take a leak thing, it has happened.
Oh, really?
They don't. Oh yeah. They don't skip you. They just keep calling numbers, and they'll call you again. They'll call that number out again, and they give you till I want to say the last brisket call to claim that ticket. And there's been times where somebody will go claim a chicken walk in the middle of brisket. So it's not unheard of.
You're cooking on only Rectex, or do you have multiple cookers?
Actually, no. I have a homemade drum that I made, and I do cook on that. I sear my brisket. That's where I do it, but it immediately goes to the Rectex. I cook my ribs 100% on my Rectex, and probably going to start doing my chicken just because it's so consistent.
Where are you guys going to be cooking at next?
That's something to be determined. Wife and I were looking at each other today, and we have a few obligations that we got to do in the next couple of weeks. But once those are over, it's going to pretty much open up, and we're going to hit the trail hard, just like we always said we were.
When you win an event like a San Antonio Rodeo Barbecue Cook-Off, do you feel like the next one you show up to, there's going to be a bigger bullseye on your back?
I just don't think about things like that. The sport's very humbling. I'm lucky to have friends in it that helped me get to here. I didn't do this alone. Chuck and Oki and Fred Robles, and and the list goes on and on. But these guys, they just, I don't feel like we're more of a family, and we kind of take care of each other in that aspect. So it was one of those any given Saturdays. It could have been anybody. We had Lady Luck on our side, and we'll take it.
Oscar Garcia is the pitmaster of 03 Barbecue, and they just walked away with the grand champion of the San Antonio Rodeo Barbecue Cook-Off. Oscar, really appreciate you letting us get to know you a little bit, and congratulations again on the big win.
Yeah, if I got a minute, I'd like to say something.
Yeah, go ahead.
Choice San Manuel for providing us with our great meats. That's Louis and Marco Flores, Rectech Grills, Raymond, CeeLo, Jody, Adam, Chupacabra Seasonings, Alton Paris, Shell Sport Boats, SCB Boats, Weston Kyra Hudson, Grill Crates, Michael DePoria, United Rentals, Monster Grillers, Jail Audio, Ori Freeman, the Medicine Shop, Thomas Garza, Crawford Spirits, It's Brian Crawford, Texas Pepper Jelly, Craig Sherry, and Mitchell Smokehouse, Trey Mitchell. Those are all the guys that really help us week in and week out on our sponsorships. Keep us going.
All right, Oscar, man, way to get those in. I appreciate it.
All right, I appreciate it.
You got it. There he is, your winner, Oscar Garcia. Desmond, my man is a champion getting in. He's like NASCAR.
Yeah, and
I love it.
And the thing about it is that is very interesting to me is that he just said that he started competition 4 years ago.
Yeah.
So in that instance,
This isn't going to be you saying you and I are going to be starting competition. That ain't happening.
No, we're going to open up a restaurant.
No,
this is
we're
going to be
not.
Greg and neighbor Desmond's.
There's going to be.
Oh, we're definitely doing that.
There's a better opportunity that we are going to hit the competition trail than we're going to be opening up a restaurant. I can tell you that.
Yeah. Well, it's debatable.
I do want to give a thank you to Brian Crawford for setting that up. Actually, he had mentioned that. I was going to forget that, but he mentioned Crawford Pittsburgh, so. I did want to say thank you to Brian for hooking that up. So
Thanks,
it's
Brian.
A big deal, man. It's a big
Appreciate
deal.
it.
San Antonio. Like it. Desmond, you want to do a lightning round while we got some time?
Sure.
Damn right you do. Here we go. Ready?
Yep.
You know how to play F, marry, kill?
Not doing it.
Yeah, you're going to do it.
Absolutely not.
What are you talking about? All right,
Fuck it,
here
let's
we go.
roll. Let's roll.
F, marry, kill. Paula Dean, Ann Burrell, Ina Garten. We're gonna F. Desmond, you suck at this game.
Burrell.
Okay, we're gonna marry
Paula Dean because her chicken is awesome.
And you're gonna kill Ina Garten? No, Desmond. Okay, here we go. Bobby Flay or Alton Brown? Bob, come on. Which one?
What are you talking about? Bobby Flay, of course.
Okay. Sweet or savory?
Savory.
Pellet or offset?
Offset.
Gas or charcoal?
Charcoal.
Brady or Manning?
Manning.
Fat side up or fat side down?
Fat side down.
Jack Nicklaus or Tiger Woods?
Jack.
Wrong. Jack Nicklaus is a complete a-hole. I'll tell you.
I remember the story, but I'm just going off of.
Doesn't matter. My story.
Fine. Your story trumps my
Italian
opinion.
or Chinese?
Italian.
Sandwich or salad?
Sandwich.
Yes or no to stank meat?
No.
Sweater or hoodie?
Hoodie.
Family Guy or South Park?
Family Guy.
Cinco de Mayo or St. Patrick's Day?
I get drunk either way.
The Truth or Another's Feelings?
The Truth.
There you go. Neighbor Desmond doing a lightning round. How about that?
That's right.
Well, we'll kick it. And head into this last break as we get ready to close down shop here. Neighbor Desmond unannounced, riding it out for the last 60 minutes.
That's right.
This is where I would talk to you about some big name sponsor coming on the show right now. So, what does that mean to you? If you've ever been looking to get on board with the show, you have a product or service that you think is unique, and you want to put it in front of an audience that has a built-in interest in the live fire barbecue, grilling, and cooking industry, well, the Barbecue Central Show might be something you want to think about. It's month to month. It's not huge dollars, especially if you start looking at going on terrestrial radio or television or something like that. The show's downloaded 20,000 plus times a month. Plus, you got views on Facebook and YouTube and whatever else we do around here. What else do we do around here, Desmond? Who knows? Craziness, tomfoolery, shenanigans. But, again, target market. Everybody that finds this show has some type of interest in the industry, henceforth potentially having an interest in your product or service. So if you're interested, hit me up, Greg at thebbqcentralshow.com. That's Greg at thebbqcentralshow.com. And we are back to wrap the show right after this. Stick around. Be right back.
Whole packers, full racks, legs and thighs, injecting butts. If you've never heard this before, you might think you found the best XXX show ever. Let's get back to the most homoerotic host out there today, Greg Rempe.
You know it's true.
You're still using that thing?
Still, that's a classic, Desmond. How dare you?
Homoerotic. I love it.
Yeah, of course you do.
Yeah.
How about this? Sazerac or Old Fashioned?
Old Fashioned.
Does anybody do you even know what a Sazerac is?
You used to drink it.
Yeah, I did. Did you ever have it?
Yeah, I had it once.
You didn't like it. Is it the black licorice?
I've never been a fan of black licorice. Never.
Find that to be somewhat amusing. Well, I mean, it is an acquired taste.
It is.
There's no doubt about it. I found that for most of my youth and adulthood, I hated black licorice. What are those? Good and Plenty's?
Ugh.
Right?
God, awful.
The worst. Normal black licorice like Twizzlers, but it's not red, it's black.
It's black.
Didn't like it.
Disgusting. Tastes
but
like cough
then
syrup.
something happened, and all of a sudden, I like black licorice. Especially Good and Plenty's. My favorite candy. I'm not eating candy anymore or drinking any pop because I'm trying to turn over a healthy lifestyle.
Okay.
But I'm on habit-forming week, Desmond. Habit-forming week. But I've learned that my palate changed. And, what can I tell you? I like it. So when I learned, I'm trying to remember where I first learned about the Sazerac. It was on some type of a YouTube channel. This guy at someplace in New Orleans. I fell in love with him in a manly way. This dude taught me how to make a old-fashioned first. Then the Sazerac came, and he would give you history about the drink. The romance was just incredible with this guy. He didn't really make it that good of a gin martini. I make a better one than he did. That was the only drop off. But everything else, this guy. And I was always thought I would love to get down to New Orleans, figure out where this guy bartends, belly up, and have him make me a Sazerac, and then have a conversation with this guy because he was like one of those old timey tuxedo vest,
pocket watch.
Yes, that guy making you classic handmade drinks, cocktails, if you will. And so I was like, well, I got to find this absinthe that everybody talks about. And then nobody was selling that. And I finally had to convince the Giant Eagle liquor store in Willoughby to order in a bottle for me, which they did. And, I think it's when made right. And if you can, it's like Skyline Chili as a Sazerac. I mean, an old-fashioned, they've bastardized the old-fashioned to a point where if you go somewhere, if you go to any restaurant like Cheesecake or some of these other places, they're going to muddle fruit in the bottom, and you're going to have pulp. I'm in the middle of a dissertation about old-fashioned, Desmond. Give me one moment.
I'm telling you, I went to Fleming's and I had an old-fashioned. It was beautifully made.
Did they muddle fruit at the bottom?
It wasn't muddled, but they did a nice job with the fruit.
Was it sitting on top, or was it in the drink? There should be no fruit in the drink, only garnish.
It was a cherry.
Yeah,
it was cherry, but it was in there.
It was in the bottom of the glass, though, wasn't it? Yeah, guess what? Wrong. Fire that person. It shouldn't use the sugar cubes, some water, Angostura bitters, orange rind, less the white pith because that's bitter.
Yeah.
And then you grind that or muddle that orange rind to express the essential oils out there. And that little concoction before the bourbon hits it is just spectacular. And then load up with ice and go ahead with your 4 ounces of bourbon. Away you go. That's a true old-fashioned.
See,
somehow they've made it with muddled oranges and cherries, and they put club soda in it. What are you doing?
You should be a mixologist.
What are you doing?
You should teach the people.
I should. But I'm telling you, that's wrong. Oh, well, we're way late. We got to get going.
Oh, shit, my bad.
All the way back in the first hour, we talked with Matt Eads, Grill Seeker, grillseeker.com, at Grill Seeker on Instagram. Look for the new book, Grill Seeker. Then we talked in the second hour with Max Good, AmazingRibs.com. And then we just talked with Oscar Garcia, the new grand champion at San Antonio Rodeo Barbecue Cook-Off. You're looking right at him and hearing him live in studio. Neighbor Desmond, right across the way from me, in the compound. He's the other part of the compound.
The other part of the compound.
Right. We fenced him in the compound because we like the Motleys.
Yeah, we're cool people.
We're a motley crew. See what
That's
I just did right there?
I appreciate that.
I did that. If you want to see him, who knows when the next time will be. Maybe he'll get called off next week. You see him next week. Big show planned for you next week, September 11th, 2001. I will never forget. And until next Tuesday at 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, this is your program host and proud U.S. American, Greg Rempe. Good night now.
Hi, this is Jeff Richards, Columbus, Ohio. You're listening to Barbecue Central.